sentiment I know that I share with all of you here. This is so out of order and wrong on so many levels. But it is reality, and it's what we do when faced with circumstances out of our control. We pull together. We remember the good that we experienced with Graham, and we reflect on the mark his short but remarkable life has left on ours. Jen, you put it so beautifully on Tuesday when we spoke. Jen said, "Graham made me a better person." That is the spirit of this gathering. That is the potential good that can come from this otherwise unfortunate gathering. Would you please pray with me? Our Father in heaven, we need your help today. We ask for your help in drawing out of our time together the beauty and the benefit of our relationship with Graham. You're not going to bother with the why, because nothing will satisfy the depth of loss we feel. But we will seek the memories and the meaningful impact Graham's time on this earth has left with us. Please help us to have minds wide open to the benefits you desire for us to have as we honor the life of Graham Carl Smorzewski. Amen. I'd like to invite Josh to come up and have a reading.
Thank you. I'll be reading a poem by Henry Scott Holland. Death is nothing at all. I have only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way you always used to. With no difference in your tone, where no forced air, or solemnity, or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be ever the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort. No trace of a shadow on it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am waiting for you somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well.
So, there's only one way Graham would want this. It's not very flat. So. Thank you guys so much for being here. I have no idea how to get through the next half hour or so. We're going to do our best, huh? Like I said, thank you so much for being here to celebrate Graham. A lot of you in this room have provided some just amazing support over the last days, weeks, months, years. It's amazing. Fallbrook's a special place. And anyone who grew up there, everyone's here, you know? But you still show up. It's amazing. Before I get going, I want to give special thanks to Shadow Ridge Country Club, specifically to Matt Zuckerman, Kristen Dawson, who's the food and beverage director here, and Jimmy Laterno, the GM. They really took us in and allowed us to have a really nice event here. And we appreciate all of your hard work. I want to give special thanks to Casey Fox. I don't know where you're sitting. Casey, give me a hand. There you go, buddy. I think a lot of the people in this room read Casey's posts throughout the last year on Facebook. It was amazing, and the support that Graham garnered because of it was well needed, and bought him some extra time and got him to do some things that he really wanted to do. So, thank you. And finally to Sean Hagan and his wife Erin, all the pictures you see here today they took care of, and you got a little present for you at the end too, so thank you guys for everything. All right. Love is not an easy feeling to put into words. Neither is loyalty, or trust, or joy. But Graham was all of these things. He loved life completely, and he lived it to the beat of his own drum. I might need more beer, I don't know. Just beer, it won't come too, I'll be good. All right. Growing up and even as adults, Graham and I were about as close as two brothers could be. Because of our close age, we were lucky to share a lot of the same friends. You know, I think both of us went on a lot of different bachelor parties, good things we won't talk about here. Because of that, we also shared a lot of the same interests and really were able to stay connected. When a lot of people might separate as they get older, we definitely stayed right here. He was the best man at my wedding. I was at his. And we were there for every significant moment in each other's lives. I don't think I can put it any better than saying that my affinity for Graham was so much that my wife and I named our second child Fisher Graham. And he's 2. Almost. Excellent. All right. A lot of you knew Graham through his work. Hacienda de Vega, Shadow Ridge, Aliso Viejo, Bella Colina. Seemed to get around quite a bit. One of Graham's co-workers and friends, Matt Zuckerman, he wrote me a comment in an email earlier this week that I just thought everyone here would like to hear. He said, Graham taught me to be a better person. He taught me to have compassion and taught me to smile. All along, he inspired me to enjoy life and to be a better person. Every person he came in contact with fell in love with him immediately. I miss him so much. Graham worked in the country club and restaurant setting throughout the past 10 years. He met so many amazing people and made so many amazing friends. By the time it was all said and done, I don't think he could have enjoyed anything more than picking out and drinking expensive wines and eating his blue cheese crusted ribeye. Thanks, Paul. Most of you here also know that Graham wasn't always the easiest guy to get to answer a phone call or a text message too. But being his big brother, I never let that stop me. Before Graham got sick, I'd probably call him 3 or 4 times a week, set up a game, golf, or just checking on little bro. We generally talk maybe once or twice a week of those calls. But we try to see each other as much as possible, all of our family events, and do make sure we saw each other. But after Graham got sick, I must have annoyed the hell out of him. I called him 4 or 5 times a day. But my increased call volume did help, because now I was talking to him quite a bit more. The only thing is, definitely our talks, they changed significantly. In the past, we used to BS about sports, movies, all the other stuff that guys talk about all the time. And now, with this finality in front of us, we talked about family, and friends, and our kids. This is going to take a while. Graham's last days spent on Earth were very difficult. And they weren't anything like what we see in the movies. He wasn't able to tell us how to better ourselves or give us any answers to life's most difficult questions because he was too busy fighting, scratching, clawing, doing anything he could to beat cancer. So, now it's my honor to share with a few of you some of the talks that I was lucky enough to have with Graham over the past 32 years. First, to Graham's friends. You all meant so much to Graham. You were his extended family, and he was amazed by the outpouring of support he received from all of you. You were all so special to him, and Graham loved you all so much. This is going to get really quick. Elliot, little bro. Graham told me so many times how he wished we'd be closer in age. Because he said, you're a cool guy, and we could have hung out with more. Elliot, he would have wanted you to know, and I'm sure he told you, how much he loved you. How smart he thought you were, and how excited he was to see all your future accomplishments. He was your big brother, and he loved you so much. To Kelly, my sons Grayson and Fisher, who aren't here today, because if anyone's been around Grayson and Fisher, know they can't be in a seated room like this for more than about 3 or 4 seconds, so not the right environment. But Kelly might have been kind of surprised as I was watching our wedding video. She's probably trying to figure out why I was doing that on tonight. But on our wedding day, you remember that Graham lost his speech, and he had to wing it. That's typical Graham, right? Yeah. He did a good job still. It was a good speech. 2 years later, after watching the video one night with Graham, we may have had a few beverages, he told me that as an original speech, he had intended to introduce you as his big sister, but he forgot. And he was just letting me know that. And he told me that he knew that you'd be his big sister since the day he escorted you to your senior prom. He told me so many times how, in all of your energy, your positive attitude, and your love for everyone around you, just was amazed at how, and he appreciated so much all of your hard work, and was so impressed by your career achievements, and just how thankful he was to have you as a mom. Mom, I think this is important, and Graham would want you to know this as well. And he may have even told you himself, but I'm going to reiterate it if he did, even if he did. Is how happy he was growing up here in Southern California. And he knew that you grappled with that a lot over the years, whether moving us out of Jersey was the right decision or not. But our family of 5 was and is still as good as it ever gets. Mom and Graham love you so much. Dad, your turn. You were Graham's musical hero, his friend, part-time handyman, and his full-time babysitter for Adele. I can't count the number of times he told me, gosh, Dad's just as talented as all the people I listen to. He blow them out of the water. He had such pride in that. Graham was astonished by your commitment to your boys, and your willingness to drop everything, the drop of a hat when one of us needed you. You taught us to be loyal, and to always look out for one another's traits that were just so I'm sorry, that's not what I wrote, but you were the one that taught us to be loyal and to always look out for one another. And those are definitely traits that were evident in Graham. I think nothing could express more than the way Graham felt about you than by watching the way his daughter Adele lives with my dad. The love that Adele has for you is a perfect reflection of how Graham felt about you as well. Dad, Graham loved you so much. Thank you. Oh, look at that. I was just going to ask for that. Just about to get really hard. That was the easy part. This one's for Graham. Jenny. I have no words to express how much Graham loved you. How thankful he was that he found you. And how amazed he was by the daughter of the two you created. A few weeks ago, Graham told me he just wanted to get healthy so he could help you around the house. Jenny's probably smirking a little bit because I don't know how much he was helping before, but that's what he wanted to do. He just wanted to go and help her. He appreciated so much your commitment to him, not just over this past year, but over the past 10 years. But over this past year, you never left his side. You were always rooting him on, no matter how tough it got. Love, compassion, and loyalty that you have for Graham should be a lesson to us all in what it means to be a spouse. Jenny, thank you for looking after my brother for the last 10 years. I love you so much. Baby Adele? Is she in the room? No? Well, I can talk to her. But wow, did she change Graham's life in an instant. I mean, one day I had one brother, the next day I had a whole new one. And man, was he a better man for it. Adele brought a smile to his face every day and was the inspiration to him to fight so hard over the past year. Harder than I ever thought was possible. This past Saturday, Graham and I were able to share a private moment. I told Graham that I would always be here for his daughter. I promised that I would work as hard as I could to make sure she was looked after, taken care of, and I'd always be here for her. Graham looked at me with love and passion in his eyes. He said, "You better." Adele, your daddy loved you so much. All right. I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit. Hopefully. A little bit. So on Saturday, less than, believe it or not, 48 hours before Graham passed, I shared a moment with him and my parents that will stay with me forever. And I think it was a perfect example of why all of you love my brother so much. You do know what it is. A couple other people do too. Graham had just made the most difficult decision of his life, telling his doctors that he understood the fight was over. The mood in the room was beyond somber. And I knew how bad Graham was in need of just a little levity. So I asked him if it would be okay if I told a funny story. And in typical understated Graham fashion, he said, "Yeah." So here's how it went. I'm going to try. My wife, Kelly, she works at the Park Hyatt Aviar, and 1 week ago today, she was doing one of her weddings. Night wasn't going great. Kelly was talking to her banquet captain, Mariana. Mariana is from Brazil, which will explain my awful accent in just a moment. And Kelly's there just freaking out. Probably freaking out, right? Telling how bad things are going. The bride's having a panic attack. She's in the bathroom throwing up. All the normal stuff she deals with on a normal weekend. I'm sure the people who work in the industry know just as well. And as Kelly's saying this, she notices Mariana holding a bag of what looks to be dirty napkins. Mariana then holds up the bag a little and says, "Oh, Kelly, It's kind of Irish and Scottish too. Oh, Kelly, I'll just say it. That's the least of our worries. Grandma just shitted on the dance floor. Our hospital room erupted in laughter, with Graham laughing so hard he had to hold his side. As our laughter subsided a little, Graham then said, "Hey, I ever tell you guys about my shit wedding story?" Graham then proceeded to tell us of a wedding story that took place right here at Shadow Ridge, where an overzealous Marine put an out-of-control woman in a sleeper hold, and you guessed it, she shit her pants. As Graham hit the punchline of the story, our laughter just erupted once again, to the point where I was thinking a nurse would come in and check on us, just to see what was going on. But, that was Graham. Even in his darkest hour, there was my little brother telling a funny story. Enjoying seeing us all have a laugh. He was just one cool guy. I found this, and I tweaked it a little bit myself, so I hope the Kennedys don't mind too much. I tweaked it a lot. In closing, my brother does not need to be idealized or enlarged in death beyond what he was here in life. He should be remembered simply as a good and decent man who loved his family, his friends, his wife Jenny, and his daughter Adele. We love you, Graham. Thank you for being you. Thanks.
Probably fitting that I follow Greg, since me and Graham had been doing that our whole life, ever since we were 6 years old. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Patrick Lucy, and I wanted to thank all of you for coming today to celebrate the most amazing son, brother, friend, and most importantly, husband and father I had the honor of calling my best friend. Graham is all of those things and more. When we were 6 years old in Mrs. Paulson's class in first grade at May Ellis, and from that day through high school, we were pretty much attached at the hip. I liked hanging with my best bud so much, I even tried playing the clarinet in fourth grade, so I'd be able to hang out with him more. For some unknown reason, it was highly suggested that I try another activity. Graham stayed in the class and enjoyed making music. He also tried many times showing me how to play the piano, playing chopsticks, and I'd butcher that. But this is kind of when I first got into Graham's foray with music. Growing up, we played basketball all the time. It was the thing that we enjoyed most doing together. We played it on Nintendo, we watched it on TV. We'd watch the NBA three-point contest and dunk contest every November at the Smorzewski house, because it was right with the high school alumni game. And we loved watching Greg and the older guys play, and we dreamed about the day we were going to be able to put on the tribe uniform and be like you guys. Our favorite place to play was at La Paloma on the 8.5-foot rims, where we could try to dunk like Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins. In high school, our friendship really grew. We liked hanging out together so much. We tried dating best friends more than once. We figured we'd get to hang out together with them, and then when we weren't hanging out with them, we'd be together as well. I guess our dream would have been finding twin sisters. He was a regular at our Sunday night family dinners, because we usually would have steak and Caesar salad. He became part of our family, and I became part of his. My parents loved and trusted Graham very much. And my rules at high school and going out and doing activities or parties were, if Graham was going, it was okay. If he wasn't there, you probably shouldn't be there. And that was a really good rule to follow, because the one time I didn't, I got into a little bit of trouble. But the thing I remember most about Graham from high school was when I watched him get one of our best friends through the hardest parts of her life. He was so kind, he was selfless, caring, and compassionate. He showed me what it meant to be a true friend, what it meant to love someone. He was only 17 years old, but he just stepped up. He was wise beyond his years when it came to being a friend. He always knew what to do. Graham was always his own person. He did what he liked, and he really didn't care about what other people thought. Even in high school, when most people are the most self-conscious, Graham was so comfortable with who he was. He never had to fake anything to fit in or feel accepted. Graham was very much a Renaissance man. He loved sports. He's the only Southern California-born person I know that loved the Seattle sports teams. I never really figured out why I liked the Seahawks and Supersonics so much. He loved to read, to watch movies, listen to music, play music. And with his career, he developed a love for cooking, food, and wine. In fact, he probably became a little bit of a wine snob. He certainly developed an extensive wine palate. The fact that Graham was interested in so many different things is, I think, why you see so many different people here today. Graham could relate to so many different people and their interests. He had a ton of friends from all different types of backgrounds. This is something about Graham that was true from the first time I met him. It started in elementary school when he let my little brother tag along with us. I didn't think that was very cool, but Graham would never turn a friendship down. During college and early after, we didn't get to hang out as much because we were both busy with life. But there was never any weirdness when we'd get back together. It was always so easy with Graham. Our friendship never missed a beat. It felt like for the few hours we were together, we were right back to our childhood with Pat and Graham, two little kids attached at the hip. I never doubted his loyalty or his friendship, even though our visits were less frequent during those years. I know he would have done anything for me at the drop of a hat, and I imagine a lot of you sitting here feel the same way about him. He was that type of person. He was never threatened by the close relationship that Greg and I developed, because that's just the kind of man he was. He probably figured that it would allow us all to get to hang out a little bit more. Graham was an amazing father and an amazing husband. He loved you and Adele so much, Jenny. One of my favorite memories was the time we were at the beach house this past January, and I was bringing the keys up to you. It was just me, Easton, you and him, and Adele. I got to see the three of you interact as a family, and it was perfect. You were so loving and caring for the two of them, making sure they were warm enough. And Graham was feeling pretty good that night because you let him have a beer at Full Taco for dinner. But the thing I remember most about that day was watching Easton and Adele play together. I think Easton had his first crush that day because he never lets anyone play with his Lightning McQueen toys, and he let Adele have it whenever she wanted. They had fun together, and it was amazing seeing our two kids play together. That's a memory that will last with me forever. Jenny, I know Graham liked Mumford & Sons and discovered them way before they went mainstream. They have a song called Tim Scholl that says, "You are not alone in this. As brothers we will stand and hold your hand." The three of us standing up here today will always be here for you and Adele whenever you need. Graham would have done the same for us. Graham was an amazing person who touched all of us in some special way, whether it was through music, sports, books, movies, food, wine, friendship, or family. And he impacted all of our lives. He made us better people. And I can't wait to see how he will continue to touch me, my family, his family, and friends from up in heaven. Because I picture him right now sitting up there at a table with an eclectic group of people, having a nice glass of Opus One, chatting about why Dwight Howard left the Lakers, with Mumford & Sons playing in the background. And I bet everyone sitting with him at that table is going to feel like Graham was their best friend. I know I always will.
My name is Brandon Way. Like all of you, I've had the blessing of knowing Graham. That's all you need. It didn't matter if it was 21 years or if it was 21 days. When you meet him, you were friends with him. I want to start with one story, and it's kind of funny. Graham wasn't a fighter. Graham loved people. He loved to be around people, and he never raised a fist at anybody. One day when we were 16 years old, like always, Pat was our taxi driver. We drove around in his Suburban. One day we were going down to the beach, and we decided to get some food at the gas station. So we go into the gas station, all the guys are done, sitting in the Suburban, but if you know Graham, he's not very quick when it comes to getting ready in the morning, when it comes to doing anything. He just takes his time. So we're waiting with the car ready to go, and his door is open. And Graham comes out of the gas station with the biggest smile on his face, and he holds up a 44 ounce of soda and beef jerky in this hand. Beef jerky's already open, and he's chewing on it. And he's got the biggest smile on his face. He gets about, 5 steps away from the Suburban, and suddenly we hear a voice out of the corner just saying, "Hey, I know you." And somebody came up and just hit Graham right on the side of the face. We're 16 years old. This guy must have been 350 pounds, maybe in his 30s, and we were scared out of our mind. Graham falls into the Suburban, soda in this hand, beef jerky in this hand, and we're trying to pull him in. I think it was Casey and Ty trying to pull him in. And this guy just keeps hitting Graham. Finally, Pat just puts it in reverse, pulls out of there, and we're gone. We're silent for about 30 seconds, going, what in the world just happened? And suddenly Graham just kind of throws out a little laugh. He goes, "You know what? I still got my full soda, and I still have my beef jerky." Yeah. It was a yoo-hoo and a cinnamon roll, of course. Of course it was a yoo-hoo. But that was Graham. I mean, even after that situation, he just made light of the situation. He just brought a laugh to all of us, and nothing ever kept Graham down. Whenever you were down, Graham was the first one to pick you up. And even in this past year, as things got tough, he was always positive. Anytime you call him or visit him, he always made jokes about things and just was more concerned about your family and my kids and my wife. And he just wanted to have those conversations with you all the time. That was Graham. That's why he fought so hard. Graham has been a brother of mine for 21 years. Through music, through camping, body surfing, sailing. We used to jam in our garage, through late nights and early mornings. Through the women that we married and our children. I can say that for those 31 years, Graham, quoted, sucked the marrow out of life. He lived it to its fullest. He knew how to enjoy every moment. And he was present all the time. Wasn't thinking about other things. Graham taught me how to appreciate God's creation. It seemed as though that at any time when we'd be sitting in our chairs, either up in the mountains or at the beach, he'd just have this content look over his face as though he's home. And he could just sit there enjoying God's creation. He had the joy and he had the big smile whenever he was out hiking or body surfing. And he was one of those guys in the water where if he'd catch a good wave, he'd get up and let out a big old yell. Graham taught me to love music. Music that he discovered. I don't know where he got half of that music from, but it was all good. The music that we wrote together, it shaped my life. And we had the joy of going to concerts, and we spent hours upon hours in our little garage trying to be musicians. We recorded music on this little tape player that we got from Gary, and we loved it. about 5 years of doing this, I got some terrible news in my life, and that was somebody actually told me that I was tone deaf. So I went to Graham, and we said goodbye. Always ends with words of love. I love you, B-Way. For this reason, his actions and his love, they pointed me back to God. He loved his parents, he loved his brothers. Danny, he loved you so much, and you're going to hear that over and over again. You know why? Because it's true. When he was in the hospital bed and you went down to get breakfast one morning, we told him, we said, you got to get Jenny to try to fall asleep, buddy. He said, no. He said, she's so awesome. She's so awesome. And he kept saying it over and over again. He loved his friends. He loved his beautiful, beautiful daughter. Our favorite song that we wrote is called Adonai. It was a wonderful song. Wonderful. And in it, the words cry out to God. It says, Adonai, Adonai, you placed me here and I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why you've called me to live this life. I don't know why our Heavenly Father took Graham. But I know why he placed Graham in my life. To teach me how to love and love abundantly. To make sure that I'm present in every conversation. That every smile is real. Every hug deserves the last squeeze. And every goodbye deserves an I love you. I love you, Graham.
I'm not usually one to write things down. In fact, I don't believe I did at their wedding speech. But I'll do them the honor of trying to read down some of the thoughts I've put down over the last week or so. As has been hit on various times, Graham had a great love of music, and one of the groups he turned me on was called The Beautiful Girls, and they're an Australian band. They just have lots of rootsy, soul-filled music with amazing guitar playing. And one song in particular reminded me of Graham. I think it was probably the first one he introduced me to, is kind of a sample of this music. So I'm just going to read the lyrics real quick. I think they're fairly pertinent. This day is getting older, and the fading light is beautiful. This wind is blowing colder, and too soon I'll feel its pull. Still, I took all my chances. I earned myself an even score. I tried to learn my lessons well, and I don't have all the answers for those questions anymore. Only love can be both heaven and hell. So sturdy up your heart, for the road is long ahead. I'll be with you, even though we're apart, but that road is yours to tread. And so it goes, and so it goes, and so it goes. Slows your mind. I've grown old in this ocean, gave her all my stronger years. He gave his wife his devotion. When he died, the ocean our tears. I tried to teach you well, child, all of everything I knew, of how to live this life to be true. Don't bow your head to no one, and no matter what you do, if you start, then see it through. So sturdy up your heart, for the road is long ahead. I'll be with you, even though we're apart, but the road is yours to tread. Graham's smile, like that song, could soothe a troubled mind like a heartfelt melody composed by a master songwriter. Graham's friendship was like a crystal clear tropical ocean wave, refreshing the spirits of all those fortunate enough to float in his buoyant, beaming presence. Graham's love was like a nimble sparrow, with a simple but joyous song on its breath, as it goes about its humble existence with a quiet air of contentment. He offered these and many other gifts seemingly effortlessly, yet it was apparent that his patience was tried on occasion with closed-minded people, terrible pop music, and prima donna pro athletes. One of my first memories of Graham was in fifth grade, when he stole my girlfriend. And list the words, wherever you are, I forgive you. And him. Notice was served that he was on my shit list and a very angry note in his yearbook. However, 2 years later in 7th grade, Graham also stole the coveted best personality spot in the yearbook from me. I got the lame consolation prize of best eyes. I'm convinced to this day that although he has always had a more amicable personality than me, I should have edged him out in the voting due to my superior wave hairstyle, although his was a formidable opponent. Right around this time, I began to believe that this guy, whose last name no one could spell correctly, might be a better ally than adversary. We became close during junior high basketball, where his teammates watched his skills leapfrog ours by leaps and bounds, both on the court and in various sports video games, as Patrick hit on. I told him the other day that there was only one time I was ever mad at him throughout our friendship, and it was when he would whoop me just behind the woodshed at video games. I'm sure I broke many, many controllers, and for that I'm sorry. He chuckled with his typical mood the other day and his good nature, and told me he had never been mad at me because he had never lost to me. When we reached high school, he was put on the varsity team with his older brother Greg, while myself and most of the others remained on the freshman team. I was somewhat annoyed because I had now lost a great teammate and a great friend, but I also realized that no one deserved this honor more than him. He poured himself into whatever his passion was of the day, the week, or month, and I admired that passion greatly. We went our separate ways for college, and although we didn't keep in great touch, every time we would hang out, it was as if not a day had passed apart. Sometime later, when I needed a job to get some cash together for traveling, Graham got me a serving job at a nice Mexican restaurant in Escondido. Graham and a cute bartender by the name of Jenny Myers seemingly enjoyed each other for more than just their joint penchant for slinging Cadillac margaritas. The only problem was both had significant others at the time. However, fate is a very nifty craftsman, and his preferred tool in this matter was Irish car bombs and fine tequilas, served up by his soon-to-be girlfriend, Jenny. I used to kid him that Jenny was out of his league, and he'd better drink until he was cuter to her. Counterintuitive, I know, but he often took my advice anyways. Before long, it became apparent that these two lovebirds were meant for each other, and a few years later, they were married and together made the sweetest child I've ever seen. Over the years, Graham turned me on to much of the music I enjoy today, and I was fortunate to see some of our favorite bands with him, and Jenny, and these guys, and a lot of you as well. One particular show that stands out, and I was telling the family about a week ago, was John Butler Trio in LA. Graham, Jenny, Brandon, and I, and maybe a couple other people got to the venue really early to beat that terrible LA traffic. We were milling around when the band came in and asked us if we were the opening act. Our jaws dropped to the ground. We all stood there savoring that almost famous feeling. I think all we could muster was a simple no, because we were also tickled that someone that we thought was the bee's knees thought we looked like a band. That was the simple life that Graham helped his friends lead, and why his friendship was so desirable. Graham continued to delight in the simple things in life until the very end. Last Friday, when he was weak and in spite of the pain he was in, he bragged to me that little Adele could say my name, one of the few words she can say. When she did so, at the prompting of her proud father, he, motionless at this point and with his eyes half closed, pumped his fist in the air in triumph, the way he had so many times before during our successful high school basketball career. This was so poignant to see a man crippled by cancer and yet his spirit still shining strong. As with all of us, I wish I had more time with him. However, I had enough time to be transformed by his goodness and his friendship and altruism. The only way I see healing ahead is taking comfort and sharing his unique spirit with the world, one person at a time. I hope each and every one of you will join me in this endeavor.
Patrick, Brandon, and Casey, thank you. You put into words why we need to be here. And Casey will take you up on that challenge. I think that's the best thing, the only good thing about us coming together for this. When I married Graham and Jennifer on May 23rd, 2009, next to the beach in Carlsbad, I asked them to state out loud their vows. Each one said the same thing. And to Graham first, he said, "I, Graham, take you, Jenny, to be my wife. You have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish as long as we both shall live. As God is my witness, I give you my promise." They kept their vows. Jennifer and Graham fulfilled the vows they made to one another in front of many of you and in sacred ceremony that was witnessed by God. In these closing remarks, I'd like to appeal to your imagination as well as your ability to reason. If heaven is real, what do you think Graham will be like when you see him next? There was already a good idea presented. I like that. There are many documented accounts of people who have been given a glimpse into this amazing phenomena we know simply as heaven. I think the one that captured my attention was the account of the little boy named Colton who left his body during an emergency surgery a week after his appendix had burst and his body was full of toxins. He described things about people he'd never met but were very real and who had died before he was ever born. His great-grandfather was one of the people he talked about. And when he was shown a picture, a recent picture of his great-grandfather, he said, that's not him. Well, some time had gone by and another picture of his great-grandfather when he was in uniform. And the young Colton said, there he is. That's Grandpa. That's who I saw. And he was describing people in their prime. For people like me who have passed that, that's a comforting kind of thought. I like that idea of heaven. I'm a preacher. I've been preaching from the book of 1 Corinthians for the past several months. Now don't worry, I'm not starting a new sermon right now. But I do want to appeal to your sense of reason as we close here. In his essay on the resurrection, the Apostle Paul is challenging the people in Corinth, and really to all believers everywhere. And the people in Corinth were probably a lot like people in Southern California. Very successful in trade, very, should say, wild in life. He loved to live life on the edge. And so he's writing to them, and at the 15th chapter, it's all about the resurrection. And he's challenging the people who had begun to write off the idea of a resurrection, saying, it didn't really happen. So he told them that if the resurrection didn't happen, then that the Christian people, were the worst off and the most to be pitied of all people anywhere. In other words, if this life is all we have, then living up to the standard of love required of those who claim to believe in God is just a sham, an unfortunate devotion to empty promises and a loss of self-serving opportunity to get all you can get out of life, because this is it. But Paul said that indeed Christ did rise from the dead, and there is indeed a resurrection, and that the glory of what is to come far outweighs the burden of loss, the disappointment accompanied by the demands of service. For us, the impact that cancer has thrust on otherwise healthy and vibrant lives would be victorious, would have lost its impact if there was no heaven. So I agree with Paul. There is indeed a resurrection. We all know people who have died, and we all hope that we will be reunited one day with these people. I leave you with the hope of eternal life that has been given to us by the God who loves us and has allowed us to experience love and loss here. Because in the life to come, there will be no more loss, no more cancer, no more death, no more broken relationships. Life will be, well, heavenly. I'm pretty sure Graham wants you to know that. Pretty sure he wants you to hang on to that hope, because I'm pretty sure you're going to want to see him again. Would you pray with me? Father, thank you for Graham's life. Thank you for the lessons that have been taught here today in recalling the loyalty, the love, the kindness, the compassion, the devotion. Thank you for friendships that really do mean everything. God, help us to deal with loss with the kind of grace that we need to help one another through these times. And thank you for the hope of life everlasting. Thank you for the forgiveness that you offer us. Thank you for the love that you encourage us with. And thank you that every life has meaning, has purpose. Thank you especially today for Graham's life. In Jesus' name, amen. There's Sean. Sean has a tribute for us to see.
While that's warming up, I just wanted to, we talked a little bit about how Graham really was very passionate about music. He would spend hours and hours and hours in front of the computer, looking up new bands, listening to their music. He even started a blog, I guess, 2 years ago now, where he would find a band and he would post actual clips of songs and write reviews, and there was always bands that nobody had ever heard of. And he took real great pride in finding stuff that nobody knew of, but they were always good. I always got a good kick out of it, and the nice thing about going to see these bands with him is that nobody knew who they were, so the rooms were this big. You got to hang out with them afterwards. You could shake you got autographs, whatever you wanted, because nobody knew about them. So. When I heard after Graham passed that he had a playlist on Spotify, which if you don't know what Spotify is, ask your kids or your grandkids. I'm sure somebody can look it up for you. But when I think of a playlist, I think of kind of like a mixtape, where maybe it's like 20 really good songs that that he was really passionate about. So when I went to go look it up, I was expecting just some nice, really good songs that I could put on a CD. I scrolled down, it ended up being 2,300 different songs. And I did the math on it, and it came out to, if you were to push play right now and play that all the way through, it would take a week for all those songs to play through. So that was what Graham considered to be his ultimate playlist. So if you ever get a chance to check it out, it's called Graham's Ultimate Playlist. So we have a little slideshow here. The song that we decided to play, Graham actually mentioned to Jenny a little while back. As he was sitting there looking through music like anything else, he came across a song and really struck a chord with him, and he kind of turned to Jenny and said that, I think this would be an appropriate song somewhere down the line, if it came to it, that you'd like to play. So here he is, still sharing music with everybody. So.
I know you'd like to hear a song, sings everything's alright. The temperature is warm, the fire horses sleep, so gently comes the night. Now close your eyes and stare, the ground they're on is bare, but once it was as deep and wild as giant's dreams. It's no longer there, and all of our desires could mirror skies with flames and smoke out heaven's halls. The new words that you call, they're no longer there. Here it goes again, oh, here it goes again, here it goes again. Territories are dried out and your city's drowned and swept. What would you leave behind when those who bear your name are born in that place that you wrecked? And what would you leave behind when you're no longer Would you sail to distant shores and hide within the haze and softly close your door, pretend the world was saved and wait for heaven's call? Or would you turn and face the seas and calm decide you care? There's chance, but if you dare, as swift as on a steed before it's no longer there. Here it goes again,